Hello and welcome to Online Yoga and Wellness with Raw Impact. My name is Kate Astle and today you'll be joining me on the mat for a 45-minute Hatha flow. So it's important to listen to your body throughout this practice and make sure you do what feels right for you. So today we're going to start in Child's Pose. So with Child's Pose, we are going to kneel on the mat, sitting back on the heels. You can gently sway the body left to right as you come down onto the elbows and then walk the hands out in front, dropping the chest down to the mat. Placing the forehead on the ground and taking in a few deep breaths. So today we're going to be diving into self-awareness. We're going to be dropping from the mind into the body. Day to day we can get so caught up in reflecting on what's happened in the past or projecting into the future, worrying about what's going to happen next, regretting what might have happened, instead of being in the moment and being in our bodies. So as you sit on the mat in Child's Pose, starting to notice what thoughts are on your mind, noticing what you've brought with you today to the mat. Visualizing on the out breath the thought releasing and letting go. Visualizing the mind clearing. Feeling the spaciousness of the mind. Sitting with this spaciousness. Sitting with clarity. And then begin to drop the mind into the body. Tapping into your senses. Noticing what you can hear. Noticing what you can smell. Noticing any light from the corners of your eyes. And then observing what you can feel. The temperature of the air as it dances across the skin. The sensation of your clothing on your body. Noticing the body and its points of contact on the mat. Noticing the texture beneath your fingertips. Feeling the body expand and contract with each breath. Feeling the rhythm of the breath. And then drawing your awareness inward. Noticing the energy within your body. Noticing the weight of the body and the pull of gravity. Feeling the earth holding you securely in place. Knowing that you're exactly where you need to be just as you are in this moment. Taking in one more deep breath. And then slowly coming up onto your hands and knees in tabletop. Checking that the wrists are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hips. We're going to take a deep breath in, dropping the belly button down to the mat, arching through the back, lifting up through the crown of the head. As we exhale, tucking the tailbone, drawing the belly button to the spine and dropping the crown of the head down towards the mat. Breathing in, dropping the belly. Starting to explore the body and the breath. Feeling the body move, helping with your inhale and exhale. Moving the body to your rhythm of your breath. Observing the sensations within the body, within the hips and the shoulders. Observing the spine. Starting to explore a little further, distributing the weight between alternate hands and knees. Continue breathing in and breathing out. Exploring what feels good for you. Exploring where tension's being held within your body. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Crossing the ankles and sitting back onto the mat. Finding the center. Keeping the legs crossed. Placing the hands on the knees. You can cross the legs in any way that feels comfortable for you. Lifting up through the chest. Here we're going to start to explore the shoulders by alternating rolling each shoulder. Drawing the shoulder up to the ear and down the back. Alternating left and right. And then back in the opposite direction. And then back to center. Dropping the chin to the chest, rolling the head from the left shoulder to the chest and to the right shoulder. Nice and slow, continue rolling back and forth. Keeping the shoulders down, exploring the neck, the upper back. Noticing the weight in the chest, in the shoulders and the arms. As you roll the head from side to side, imagining any weight that you're holding to be dropping off the shoulders. Feeling them get lighter and lighter as you roll the head. And then drawing the chin back to the chest and inhaling up to center. Taking the hands and inhaling them out wide, palms facing the ceiling, opening through the chest. Bending through the elbows, placing the hands on the shoulders. Start to draw little circles with the elbows. Nice slow circles. As they begin to spiral, make the circles bigger until they're as big as you can make them. And then slowly back in the opposite direction, starting with the big circles. And then making smaller and smaller until the elbows are back to a neutral position. Releasing the shoulders, opening through the arms and the chest. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, looking up between the hands, opening through the throat. Welcoming peace, welcoming this moment. Returning the head back to center, placing the right hand on the left knee, the left hand behind the body as you twist and look behind. Twisting through the spine, shoulders down the back, lengthening through the crown of the head. Inhaling the torso and arms up to the ceiling and back to center, and then twisting to the right, lowering the left hand onto the right knee, the right hand behind the body. Lifting up through the chest. And then inhaling the hands and torso back to center. And exhale, folding forward, collapsing the upper body over the hips. Allowing the head to drop down towards the mat. Releasing any tension through the shoulders, through the upper back. Taking a deep breath in, breathing between the shoulder blades, allowing them to separate. And as you exhale, folding a little deeper. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the feet, lifting up through the chest. Inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling. Dropping the right hand down to the mat, squeezing into the right side, leaning over with the left fingertips. Making sure we don't collapse through the chest. You can look up towards the ceiling underneath the elbow. Continue squeezing into the right side. And then cartwheeling the arms, placing the left hand on the mat, extending the right fingertips overhead. Squeezing into the left side, looking up underneath the right elbow towards the ceiling. And cartwheeling back. Right hand on the mat, left fingertips overhead. You can bend through the right elbow, deepening the squeeze down the right side. And cartwheeling back in the opposite direction. Looking up underneath the right elbow, bending through the left, squeezing into the left side. One more on each side. Cartwheeling back, deepening the squeeze, looking up, opening through the chest. And then back to the left, looking up underneath the right elbow, squeezing into the left side. And then cartwheeling the right hand back to the right side, sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. Straightening through both legs. We're going to bend and straighten the ankles and the knees, gently massaging the legs, restoring blood flow all the way down to the ankles and feet, the calves, the thighs, the hamstrings. Straightening through both legs, drawing the toes back towards you, lifting up through the chest. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, sitting up nice and tall. And exhale, folding forward, reaching towards the toes. If you can't reach your toes, holding onto your shins. And with each out breath, walking the fingers closer to your ankles. Deepening the stretch with each breath. Remaining here for 2 more breaths. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and then back down by your sides. Bending through the left knee, taking the left foot at the base of the spine. Sitting up nice and tall, you can take the right leg out onto a 45-degree angle. Inhaling the hands up towards the ceiling and folding forward, reaching down towards the mat. Drawing the right toes back towards you but folding in front. Breathing into the hips. Folding a little deeper, making sure the sit bones stay on the mat. Slowly walking the fingertips over to the right foot or ankle. Feeling the slight extension through the left side. Taking in a few deep breaths. Folding a little deeper on the out breath. And then walking the hands back to center. And inhaling them up to the ceiling and down by your sides. Taking the right hand underneath the left shin. We're going to be folding sideways down the right leg. So slowly bending through the right elbow. Inhaling the left fingertips up to the ceiling and over towards the toes. Looking up towards the ceiling, making sure not to collapse through the chest. Taking in a few deep breaths and folding a little deeper with each out breath. Squeezing the right side, breathing into the left. Cartwheeling the left hand over to the left side. Dropping the left knee down to the mat, lifting up through the hips and inhaling the right hand overhead. Extending nice and long. And then on your next exhale, lowering the hips down to the mat. Cartwheeling the right fingertips to the right toes, followed by the left fingertips. Taking a breath here, deepening the stretch. On your next in-breath, cartwheeling the arms, placing the left hand behind the body, lifting up through the hips, arching through the back, dropping the head, opening through the throat, through the heart space. And exhale, lowering the hips, cartwheeling the arms back towards the right foot. One more time, cartwheeling the arms back to the left, lift through the hips, arching through the back, dropping the head. And then slowly lowering the hips back down to the mat, coming to an upright position. Bending through the right leg, joining the soles of the feet together, holding the toes, lifting up through the chest. Taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly walking the hands out in front. Collapsing over the hips, stretching through the insides of the legs. Walking the hands back towards the feet, lifting up through the chest, joining the knees together, and then walking the legs out in front. Straightening through both legs, drawing the toes back towards you. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, and exhale, folding forward, reaching towards the toes. Allowing the upper body to collapse over the legs. Using the breath to create more tension, stretch stretching through the hamstrings, through the calves. And then inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and lowering them down by your sides. Bending through the right knee, taking the right foot to the base of the spine, taking the left leg out on a 45-degree angle, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward, drawing the left toes back towards you, keeping the sit bones down on the mat, taking a few deep breaths, breathing into the hips. Dropping the mind into the body, feeling the stretch. Connecting to the breath. Connecting to the moment. Walking the fingertips over to the left foot or the ankle. Feeling the slight extension through the right side. Dropping the chin to the chest, taking a few deep breaths as you fold. And then walking the fingertips back to center. Inhaling them up towards the ceiling and then back down by your sides. Taking the left hand underneath the right shin. We're going to be folding along the left leg, bending through the left elbow, inhaling the right fingertips up and overhead. Looking up towards the ceiling, making sure we don't collapse through the chest. With each out breath, folding a little deeper, breathing into the right side, feeling the body as it arches to the left. Cartwheeling the right hand down to the mat. Leaning into the right knee, lift the hips and extend the left fingertips overhead, arching through the back, dropping the head. Exhale, lowering the hips down to the mat. Taking the left fingertips to the toes, followed by the right. Taking a breath here and folding a little deeper. And then inhaling, cartwheeling the right hand down to the mat, extending the left fingertips overhead, lift the hips off the mat. Arching through the back. And then lowering the hips down as you exhale. Taking the left fingertips to the toes, followed by the right. Dropping a little deeper. And then cartwheeling the arms once more to the right side of the mat. Lift the hips, extend the left arm overhead. Arch through the back, drop the head. Breathing into the throat, into the chest. Lowering the hips down to the mat, taking your hands down by your sides. Bending through the left knee, joining the soles of the feet together, drawing them in nice and close, holding the toes, lifting up through the chest. Taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, walking the hands out in front, folding over the hips. Folding a little deeper than before. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the feet, lifting up through the chest. Joining the knees together and then straightening through the legs, bending through the knees, through the ankles, straightening through both legs, pulling the toes back towards you, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling And exhale, folding forward. Taking one more breath here, folding a little deeper on the exhale. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and back down by your sides. Tucking the feet to one side, rolling over onto knees and hands back into tabletop. Noticing your positioning, the knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Sinking down into the heels. If the hamstrings are tight, keeping the knees bent, pressing the chest towards the knees. Taking a breath here, sinking down into the heels, stretching through the calves. Taking the right toes in the air, extending up towards the ceiling. Bending through the right knee, taking the right knee to the right elbow. And then inhale, extending the foot back up to the ceiling. Exhale, drawing the knee to the elbow. Inhale, extending the foot up to the ceiling. One more time, dropping forward, knee to elbow, and extending up to the ceiling. Bending through the knees, stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Pressing the hips forward. Dropping the left knee down to the mat. Inhaling the hands up towards the ceiling, dropping the hips forward. Exhale, dropping the hands back down to the mat. Lifting through the left knee. Rocking on the toes, stepping the left foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift, straight spine, hands on the shins. Exhale, folding forward. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. Placing the palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Taking a moment here to find mountain pose. Standing with the feet hip width apart, adjusting clothing as you need to. Shoulder blades down the back, taking up space. Feeling confident, balanced, standing on 2 feet. Feeling the body. Feeling the space that it takes up, becoming aware of the space that it's taking up. Stepping the feet to just outside hip width with the toes onto a 45-degree angle. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, placing the palms together and lowering them down to the heart center. Bending through the knees and hips, sitting down into a deep squat. Keeping the heels down on the mat. Taking a breath. Stepping into the feet, straightening through the legs, standing back up. Releasing the hands, rolling the shoulders, and then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Placing the hands on the mat, stepping the left foot back, right foot back into plank. Option here to drop to the knees as we bend through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. Drop the hips to the mat, pressing to the palms, arching through the back. If the back is still tight, you can keep the arms bent slightly here. And then sitting back into child's pose. Taking the knees out nice and wide, dropping the head down to the mat. Taking a deep breath in. Connecting to the mat, to the earth. Once again, going to the space we created at the start of the class, at the start of the practice. allowing your mind to drop into the body if it started to wander off with thoughts. Connecting again to the breath. Noticing if you can feel your heart beating in your chest. Feeling the energy of the body. And then inhaling back to tabletop. Making sure that the wrists are under the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Sinking down into the heels, keeping the knees bent if the hamstrings are tight. Extending the left foot up to the ceiling. Bending through the left knee, taking the left knee to the left elbow. And then inhaling back up to the ceiling. Exhale, drawing the knee to the elbow. Inhaling, extending. One more time, knee to elbow. And extend. Bending through the left knee, stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Pressing the hips forward, dropping the right knee down to the mat. Inhaling the hands up and over the head. Pressing forward with the hips. Exhale, folding forward. Lifting through the right knee, rocking back and forth on the right toes, stepping the right foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up and over the head. Joining the palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands and finding mountain pose. Taking a breath, breathing in confidence. Breathing out fear or worry or judgment. Taking the feet slightly wider than hip width apart, pointing the toes out 45 degrees. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, placing the palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Sinking down into the deep squat. Taking a breath here. Feeling the body as it settles, the hips as they open. And then stepping into the feet, slowly coming back up to standing. And releasing the hands down by your sides. Drawing the feet back in, hip width apart. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Placing the hands on the mat, stepping the right foot back, stepping the left foot back into plank with the option here to drop to the knees as we bend through the elbows and inhale cobra. Dropping the hips down to the mat, shoulder blades down the back, arching, lifting up through the chest. And then exhale, sitting back onto the heels. Drawing the forehead down to the mat. Resting here in child's pose. Feeling the mind connected to the body. Feeling the forehead connected to the mat, to the energy of the earth. Tapping into your senses, Noticing the body's points of contact on the mat. Noticing what you can smell or what you can hear. And then inhaling back to tabletop, crossing the ankles, sitting back onto the sit bones and finding the center of the mat. Keeping the knees slightly bent, hands out in front, uncurling the spine, laying back onto the mat. Placing the hands down by your sides, tucking the shoulder blades down the back, walking the feet in nice and close to the sit bones. Stepping into the heels as you lift the hips up to the ceiling into bridge. Here you can tuck up onto the shoulders, reaching the fingertips towards the ankles. Lifting up nice and tall. And then slowly uncurling the spine. Dropping the hips down to the mat. Tucking the knees into the chest, placing the hands on the knees. Gently circling, releasing through the lower back. And then back in the opposite direction. And then back to center. Slowly lowering the feet back down to the mat. Placing the hands down by your sides. Extending through the legs, taking the toes up towards the ceiling, lifting up nice and tall. So you can stay here in this pose, or you can press down into the mat, taking the toes overhead into plow. Here you can put your hands on your lower back to support the pose, keeping the legs nice and straight. Don't bend through the knees. If you can't take the feet all the way back, that's okay, just to hold here as well. Taking in a breath. And then slowly unrolling the spine. Taking the hips back down to the mat. Slow and controlled. Bending through the knees, placing the hands on the knees and gently rocking from left to right. Dropping the knees to the right, extending the left arm, looking towards the left fingertips. Keeping the shoulders down on the mat, twisting through the spine. Taking a breath here. Slowly lifting the legs back to center, placing both hands on the knees, dropping the knees to the left, extending the right hand and looking towards the right fingertips. Allowing the mind to still connect to the body, feeling the pose. Feeling the twist through the spine. And then slowly drawing the knees back to center, Placing both hands on the knees. Placing the feet down onto the mat. Taking the knees out to the left and right edges, joining the soles of the feet together. Tucking the shoulder blades down the back, pushing the lower back into the mat. Gently lifting the knees up and down, releasing through the hips, and then allowing them to rest. Taking in a breath here. Feeling the body sinking down into the mat. Connecting back to the sensations within the body. Slowly drawing the knees back together. And then either keeping the knees bent if your lower back is tight, or you can walk the feet out until the legs are straight. Lying on the mat. Taking in a few deep breaths. Breathing all the way down into the belly. If you like, you can place one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest, keeping the eyes closed. Just feeling the breath, feeling the body as the rhythm of the breath expands and contracts the chest. Allowing the mind to explore the body. Noticing the temperature of the toes. Softening the forehead and the jaw. Relaxing the shoulders and the neck. Knowing that you can return to this space at any point in time. Knowing that if you get caught up in your head, reflecting on the past or projecting into the future, you can use these tips and these tools to ground the body and the mind, to connect to the body and the breath, to clear and create space in the mind. Gently bending through the knees, walking the feet back onto the mat, gently moving the knees from left to right as you turn the head from side to side. And then gently rolling onto your left side, allowing your head and your heart to settle. Taking in a breath, allowing the shoulders to roll forward. Before slowly coming back up to a seated position. Folding the legs in front. Sitting up with a straight spine, resting the hands on the knees. Rolling the shoulders, allowing the shoulder blades to rest down the back. Observing the weight in the body here. If there's anything that you're holding on to, inhaling the shoulders and allowing them to drop. Allowing whatever you're holding on to drop off the shoulders. Inhaling up and drop. One more time.